Choose Viatude fungicide and unleash best-in-class sclerotinia protection in canola and premium protection against white mold in soybeans. Viatude contains a powerful premix of Onmira Active and prothioconazole. This unique combo delivers high-performance disease control, crop safety, mix compatibility, resistance management, and advanced mobility for excellent coverage and superior plant protection. Choose Viatude fungicide for stronger, more vigorous crops.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Friday edition of the show. Thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. And I guess it's kind of a weird week in the sense that we've had a Canadian holiday. We've had Canada Day on Monday. We had July 4th yesterday. So it's really messed with our schedule. It has not been convenient for our schedule, and we do try to be in a bit of a routine here. So today, though, we've got no RealAg Issues panel. It will be the Farmer Rapid Fire like we do every Thursday. So we're going to travel across the country and find out how farmers are making out in their fields, their barns, and on the ranch. And, of course, it is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And I want to tell you about Viatude, the new fungicide for canola and soybeans. Get best-in-class protection from two of the strongest sclerotinia and white mold actives on the market. And this is definitely a year where you want to be concerned about white mold and sclerotinia. Let me tell you, it is moist out there, it is wet, and those conditions are perfect when it comes to disease. And when we've got some pretty good soybean and corn crops out. We do have good corn as well. But soybeans and canola crops, we're going to want to make sure we protect them from those types of diseases. And Viatude is a great option for you to consider. Make sure you talk to your local retailer. The farmers on today's Farmer Rapid Fire are Brendan Uruski from Manitoba. We got Billy Beaudry from Quebec, Scott Hepworth from Assiniboine, Saskatchewan. Shaun Harty is in southern Alberta. And we've got Holly Loucas is our pioneer agronomist who is out in Harris, Ontario. So we got a great group. Find out how everyone's making out, what some of the challenges are, how that crop looks, and what they are up to here in the first week of July. If you have any feedback, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Of course, you can always call the RealAg feedback line as well, 855-776-6147. And we start off this week's Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada with Billy Beaudry, who's in Quebec. Hey, Billy, how's it going?
Going good, yeah, thanks.
Hey, Billy, whereabouts in Quebec are you?
I'm about 45 minutes from Montreal there. If we drive on the highway towards Quebec City. So about southeast, yeah.
Yeah, and how are the crops looking?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We were concerned at the beginning of the spring because we started planting pretty late. We had a huge amount of rain there, and we couldn't do anything. But it was really warm whenever we planted, and corn came up in like 4 days. And most fields are looking good since then. We've got some good rain, maybe a little too much last week, but so far it's not too bad. I've heard some farmers where they farm like heavier clays, where they kind of start to see where the tiles are in the soybean fields and stuff, but it's not too bad yet. So.
Yeah, that was one of my questions was about the moisture, because we keep on hearing about some of the rain events that have been happening, and we're kind of getting to that point where like slow down here a little bit, spread it out maybe would probably be a little bit helpful. It sounds like you're in that okay situation, but kind of bordering on maybe a little bit too much in too short of a period of time.
Yeah. Well, we were more concerned last week because we like some areas they got like 100 millimeters of rain. Mm-hmm. We were around 50. and we were supposed to get some more, but finally we didn't get too much, so that was good. And now most of the, like after last weekend there, most of the week have been warm and sunny. So yeah, I'm supposed to go this afternoon back on the sprayer, and the fields are in good condition. So we'll go today and tomorrow to do some spraying, and then we should have a bit of rain on Saturday.
What are you doing with the sprayer? What are you spraying?
We're in the time there where there's all kinds of things. We have some soybeans to finish for some customers. Some are spraying biologicals in the corn, and still have some wheat and barley fungicides to do.
Are you doing this? Are you doing a bunch of custom acres with the sprayer?
Yeah. That's why. Yeah, because on my own fields there, I'm pretty much done. But it's all custom work that keep us busy.
It's one thing to get all your own spraying done, but when you've got customers to please, can that be challenging, or are they a little bit understanding on some of the timing as they expect you to be, why aren't you in my field?
Yeah. Well, it's always a challenge with the weather now. It seems like it's worse than a couple of years ago, but I don't have too many customers. I try to keep it so I can do my own first too. So yeah, it's long hours, but yeah, the guys that just do custom work, they even have more than me, so it's a bigger challenge even for them. But yeah, it's mostly that it's hard because I'm the only driver of the sprayer, and so my sister is gonna be running the tender, and yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to leave with the family, find a sweet spot there where there's not too much to do. But
yeah, do you have wheat as well?
Yeah.
And how's that looking?
Winter wheat is looking fantastic. The winter was awesome for wheat, and we didn't get much winter kill. Maybe a bit too much water in the spring, but no, it's looking good. It was more of a challenge for the spring wheat and for spraying too, because some guys were able to get it real early. Other fields were seeded like in like late May. So applications all over the place.
How far are you away from harvest on that winter wheat?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna be like mid-July. Like I'm heading back home. Like I was away. We left last Friday because of the rain. We knew we didn't have too much to do in the field. So, but yeah, it's gonna be early because the warm temperature took off soon, and it never stopped growing. And like 3 weeks ago, we got some real high temperature, so it kind of that was a bit bad for the wheat because it matured a bit early maybe, but we'll see.
And any concerns about fusarium with that winter wheat?
I haven't seen too much yet. We always try to treat for it, but no, I think it's going to be fine. Like we didn't get too much days of like with real high humidity. Yeah, we got good rains, but it's probably going to be a bigger challenge for spring wheat.
What would be the yield difference between on your farm on normal years, like an average, the yield difference between the spring wheat and the winter wheat?
It's big. Now, like we learned to grow winter wheat, and we really tried to do strategies to establish it real early in the fall. So our yields are kind of keep getting better and better. So we're going to get like yields in between like 6 to 8 tons to the hectare averages. And on spring wheat, it seems like whenever you get 5.2, like it's a really good crop. So yeah, I really like winter wheat now because we can push yields better and more, and we get good results. But it's always the challenge of a bad winter and you lose everything. So
Yeah. I can't remember. Do you have livestock?
we have pigs, 2 finishing barns and 1 winter barn, but it's all under contract. So like we don't make the feed anymore for them, and we just gonna take care of the pigs and ship them. That's it.
And how has that business been?
Like we do it because we have the barn. It's not like it used to be. Now there have been many buyouts in the industry in the last couple of years. So no, it's not a real nice business. Like now in Quebec with all the problem that Olymel had, and like basically there's not enough competitions anymore. So there's like 2 major buyers now, and that's it. So yeah,
A lot of consolidation.
yeah, that's it. That's it. Too much, and no, it's not. You talk to the guys that do a lot of swine, and it's not a nice environment.
Yeah.
Business environment now. So
Yeah, I hear you.
We're happy we have the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, exactly. And it sounds like you got some potential for yield out there, and feeling pretty optimistic given all the rain that you had there last week.
Yeah. Well, the crop was tall enough, so like if we would have had that same rain a month ago, I think it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But it all depends like how it goes like the next couple of weeks, if it just keeps raining and raining. But now like we were kind of afraid to see a repeat of last year that was really bad for us, but now it seems okay.
We just need that market to go up a little bit so that crop's worth a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all cheering for that. Well, hey, Billy, thanks a lot for joining us here this week on the Farm Rapid Fire. Really appreciate it.
Adam, thank you.
We'll continue the Farm Rapid Fire when we come back. You're listening to RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM, and of course brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
FP Genetics relentlessly brings innovative new seed genetics to Canadian farms, ensuring growers, breeders, and farmers are supported and viable. Being a valued partner on your farm for decades, you can expect the continuous pursuit of the best genetics. Visit fpgenetics.ca to discover FP's hybrid fall rye varieties and their end uses, or contact your local FP seed dealer or territory manager to discuss your fall seed strategy specific to your region.
The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com has everything you need to get your crop off to a great start and a strong finish. Whether you're growing chickpeas, faba beans, lentils, or peas, you'll get all the latest and best agronomic information at PulseSchool.com. A library of top-notch agronomy videos from industry experts available on demand at your fingertips. Visit the Pulse School, brought to you by BASF on RealAgriculture.com.
Peter Johnson at Wheat Pete, RealAgriculture.com, and what an opportunity! Oh my gosh! You think you can't grow better wheat? You are absolutely wrong. We're going to show you how to strive for those record wheat yields that they get in the UK and in New Zealand. You can grow 150 bushel wheat. I'll show you how.
Catch Wheat Pete's Word every Wednesday on RealAgriculture.com or download the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Manitoba, and we're talking to Brendan Uruski. Hey, Brendan, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Yourself, Shaun?
Pretty good. So, hey, Brendan, where's the farm?
In between Arborg and Fisher Branch.
Nice. And how are the crop conditions there?
Wet.
Really wet?
It's really wet. It's been a battle from the beginning till still now. Yesterday we had some sprinkles and just out in the sprayer right now, and hoping we're not going to get more, but the way it's been, it's like every day it seems.
And not a lot of heat.
No, it's been, I think we've had like 2 days that were hot this spring/summer. Like it's been brutal for heat.
So which crop type is faring the best, and which one is really challenged by what you're faced with this year?
Our early wheat, I would say, looks it's in slag right now, and it's looking really, really well. We put some peas in the next chance we had, and our peas look terrible. And there's a few canola fields around that look terrible. There's some that look really good. It's just a mixed bag, and it seems kind of all came down to seeding date. The early stuff all seems pretty good, and as it got later, it got worse. But some of the late canola that got spread on is some of it's starting to look good, and maybe it'll do well yet.
Yeah. Was there a bunch of canola that was spread on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we had done 800 acres, and I know the colony beside us, they spread over 5,000. They just put had a harrow bar with a Valmar on it and just hammered down to get acres in.
How much rain have you had?
I don't even know the exact amount. Like, I put up a weather station, and I thought it was only like 6, but I didn't put it up at the beginning of the season. It's more been, it was wet in the spring, and it just never, ever dried. Like, it was 175 millimeters from whenever I put up the weather station.
Jeepers.
But it's just been continuous. Like, there's been no real break. Like, we started on Mother's Day seeding, and I was thinking of starting on Monday, and I looked, it's supposed to rain on Thursday. Well, I guess I'll start today. And just since then, it's just been every so often, and it's just been such small windows to be able to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just going to say, like, how have you been able to get out there with the sprayer, considering, one, it's really wet, so you're worried about making a mess, and two, and I don't know about your area, but I've heard from a lot of growers on the prairies just the difficulty of combating some of the wind. Yeah,
it's either windy or it's rainy. There hasn't been too many great spray days. I've managed to get out and get all my stuff done and quite a fair amount of custom acres. Not what I've been wanting, especially with how wet it is. You sure lose out on a lot of that, but I've been able to make it work.
So would some heat really make a difference here? Like, if all of a sudden that temperature turned up to, consistently plus 30 Celsius with a little bit of a breeze with it, would that make a big difference at this point?
I think for the beans and corn guys, like, they're around just tiny and just hasn't looked good at all. And the beans, same thing, are just slow. I like the cereals, especially the early stuff, they look great. Other than a bit of drown out, but 30, I think that's too hot for your canola and your cereals and stuff, especially once they start trying to set seed and stuff. Give me 25s and a consistent 25 with 15 plus 15, 18 at night. It would be nice, but when we had one day of 30 there, and then the next day didn't even hit 20, and it's like plus 7 at night. Like, that's just more the garbage that it is.
Yeah. Have you seen some hailstorms at all come through?
Pardon me?
Have you had any hailstorms at all?
No. We've luckily missed that so far. There's been a little bit around, but nothing at home for us.
Nothing too crazy. Well, that's a positive for sure. So in a year like this, based on what you're seeing out there in the field, what's the decision on fungicides?
On the good crops, hammer down, because the consistent rain, they always tell you, right, is when it's wet, that's when you get the disease. So I just sprayed some flag leaf fungicide yesterday on my wheat. And if it's looking decent, then try and do some VR maps on it, or just playing with the stick while you're in the sprayer, shutting sections off and not be spraying bare ground, and put her down to, hopefully you make money off yield, so you got to protect it, and it seems to sure work every time I've done any trials.
Yeah. So what about on the marketing front, trying to market this crop? The market has not been terribly cooperative as of late. Based on what you have out in the field and what you've been seeing in the markets, have you done anything there, or are you holding pat to see what you have for yield, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, we haven't done much of anything. Had some old crop wheat that we happened to hit that $10 when it hit it for like a day, and got rid of a bunch of that. And and just the way it's been with the year, you're kind of scared to try and forward sell too much. That like I said, the wheat looks good, so maybe you could do a little bit of that. But other than that, it's so I don't want to do too much, and then stuck with it. And so we'll play it as it goes, getting closer to harvest.
Have you had much of a chance to get away from the farm for a few days and relax, or is it just stand and patiently waiting for the rain to stop and getting some of that spraying done?
Yeah, that's basically been it. I haven't gone too far, done too much, and been working. And then if not, it's raining, so there's not a whole heck of a lot you want to go do. But we got a couple things planned. I think in August we want to go down to the drag races in Brainerd, and I definitely got to get out and do a couple things. My anniversary's coming up in a few days.
Oh, so. Don't miss that.
No.
I don't care what you got to do that day. Yes. Don't miss that.
Yeah. No. So gotta take some time off.
Yeah. Do you like going to drag races?
Yeah. Me and Dad have gone for years to NHRA to watch the nitro cars and everything there, and it's such an experience. If you haven't been to an NHRA race, I highly suggest going. The experience is great because your ticket's your pit pass, and you want to. I've talked to the drivers many times, and even there's Matt Hagen. He does some farming, and I've talked farming with him down there a bit, and it's just such a great experience. And there's nothing like feeling 11,000 horsepower of each car going down the drag strip at one time.
11,000 horsepower. That's amazing. So I've been to numerous NASCAR races, but some people that have gone with before have said exactly what you did, that like you have to go to an NHRA drag race. That's where it's at. I got to do that sometime.
Yeah. No, it's the experience of being able to, 5 feet away of watching them rebuild the motors. Like you're right there and able to see everything, and you can't explain the experience when the cars take off like 330 miles an hour and 1,000 feet. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Well, Brennan, good luck to you here. Hopefully it dries up. And
hope so.
Yeah, no kidding. It has to. It has to dry. Oh man. Hey,
for harvest, that's all I care about.
Yeah, well, exactly. So just before I let you go, how is this year compared to the past number of years? This is extremely a different scenario that you're dealing with, right?
We got a 1-year break. Last year was phenomenal. Every crop that we had hit record for the farm. It was unreal. And 22 was a flood year again. Like we had, I think I started seeding the 25th in 22, and we had 5 days later we had a 5-inch rain, and then I think it was 10 or 11 days later we got back in the field, and then it was another 4-inch rain, and then that was the end of seeding season, and that was a wet one too. So that's more over normal too here. Is I call it the land of rocks and water.
And 21 was dry though, right?
21 was you're kind of drought, you want to call it.
Everybody was there. Everybody was in that same bucket. Oh well, just definitely variable and up and down for sure. The land of Brendan Uruski from the land of rock and water. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey Brendan, thanks a lot for joining us here today.
For sure. Thank you, Shaun. We'll
be right back here on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada right after this.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
I'm Lindsay Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lindsay Smith, Monday nights, live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Choose Viatude fungicide and unleash best-in-class sclerotinia protection in canola and premium protection against white mold in soybeans. Viatude contains a powerful premix of Onmira Active and prothioconazole. This unique combo delivers high-performance disease control, crop safety, mix compatibility, resistance management, and advanced mobility for excellent coverage and superior plant protection. Choose Viatude fungicide for stronger, more vigorous crops.
We're now going to take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, into Assiniboine, Saskatchewan, and we're talking to Scott Hepworth. Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
Not bad, Shaun. How are you?
Hey, man, pretty good. Okay, how are the crops looking out there?
Well, they're looking pretty good. I was out spraying some boundaries yesterday for some grasshopper control, and for this time of year, we're looking pretty good. We're looking better than last year, which I would attribute to a little bit more rain, but more than anything, the lack of severe heat.
Yeah, well, severe heat. We haven't had any heat.
Well, that's right. We haven't had a boat day yet this year. I don't think we've had a day over 30 down here yet, which is rare to be in July and can say that.
Yeah, I got a neighbor that has a pontoon boat, and that boat has not moved. The tarp hasn't come off of it. It might as well be February. That thing is plugged. It's just, it ain't moving, because you're right. It is not across the whole Western Canadian prairies. It is. We have not had temperatures, which is kind of weird.
We recently just had a baby boy last Wednesday, and the year that we had our first child in May, when we brought her home from the hospital, it was 32 degrees on May 19th. And we brought our baby boy home last week, and I think it was 22 degrees. So it's been a cool year, but down here in what I call the dirty South, to stay under 30 this far into the year is quite something, and the crops are definitely benefiting from it.
Well, congratulations on the new addition to the family.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, we're quite happy. So.
Well, you should be. Yeah, yes, and having a baby in the middle of the cropping season. Wow, that's ambitious.
Yeah, that's good planning, right?
Yeah, we'll call it that for sure. Okay, so based on things are looking pretty good, which crop do you think looks the best for you right now?
Oh, geez, I don't know. They all look pretty good. I wouldn't say anything looks better than anything else right now. I mean, they look as you would hope them to at this time of year. They all look like they have at least average to above average potential. So, no, I have no complaints with any of them.
That is awesome. That's great to hear. Yep. Absolutely. That's great. So spraying season then has gone fairly well. Then you haven't been fighting heat or over moisture, I guess. But you've had the right kind of the right amount. So has spraying season gone pretty well then?
Yeah, it did. It was kind of fast and furious. Trying to make sure it was all done before the baby arrived, of course. But no real challenges. And in fact, the weed pressure wasn't that high this year for whichever reason. I think we had good conditions early season for a proper burn off, and burn off has become a lot more complex than it once was. So I think the in-crop weed pressure was lower, but nonetheless we went out there and got the job done, and now we're just kind of keeping an eye on things, some fungicide here and there, and like I said, I did some boundaries for grasshopper control yesterday, but at this point we're just kind of doing what we see to do next.
Yeah. Have you seen many grasshoppers?
No, not really. Comparably to years previous, definitely wasn't that really early hatch, again, due to lack of heat. But they're still there, and my approach is kind of, if I see them, I'm gonna tackle them, and maybe this will be the year where we finally put the nail in that coffin on them. But no, not high pressure. I know there are some pockets within my area that have been battling them. Small pockets, but not the pressure we've seen in previous years, due to the weather conditions for sure.
Yeah. We had Dr. James Tansey on, the agronomist, be last week, and him and Dr. Tyler Wist, who's with AFC, and we're still. My understanding is we're kind of not out of the woods yet. That once it does heat up, that's when we're probably going to see that hatch. So we're not out of the woods yet, but if we get them, we'll know it, because as you know, down in Assiniboine, that when they're bad, they can take the crop fast.
Yeah, I mean, we've been battling them now, I think, for 3 years, and the pressure last year was reduced. And I was actually wrongly assuming that maybe we were out of the woods, but no, we're not. So just keeping an eye on them and tackling them when we see them. And like I said, hopefully this is our last season for them.
Yeah, but, and we got there's some products we can't use now. Has that been a factor too, or a drawback in trying to get them controlled?
No, actually not this year specifically, because of the later hatch. Last year I was kind of pulling my hair out when we couldn't use lambda-ci in some earlier crops, but the products that we can use later in the season, like Coragen, with full growth now, because it's a later hatch, no, it hasn't been a problem.
Okay, that's good. What about the markets? How are you handling all that? You got that figured out?
No, I'm frantically talking to buyers and kind of sell right now. But I'm optimistic in this year's crop. But we did lose a really nice looking crop last year, and so I'm marketing right now, especially Durham, and maybe selling into this canola rally right now. Some lentils marketed already, but with what I'm hearing and seeing across Western Canada, it looks like we have at least an average, if not above average, crop as a whole. So I think it's time to be selling.
Yeah, you're kind of worried about some more downward pressure potentially?
I am. I mean, I don't see any bullish news in most commodities. So yeah, I'm marketing as I see the yield maintaining itself, I suppose.
Yeah. It's I think you're right that if doing these discussions every week on the Farmer Rapid Fire, if I sum up what I'm hearing in Western Canada, I think your prognosis is correct that we have average to above average. We've still got, as everybody reminds me every week, we still have to get it in the bin. So there is that. I won't disagree with that, because you're right. But you kind of also need to pay attention to what is potentially out there as well. I'm not saying you have to market at all, but just definitely pay attention to where you're at. Do you use production contracts mostly, or do you use futures and options, or what do you usually do?
Mostly production. I mean, we grow Durham, canola, and lentils primarily.
Oh, well, then you have to, right? You're kind of kind of trapped there.
I could play the canola game. I have a friend that does, and I vicariously live through his futures and puts and pulls. But no, myself, I'm just kind of a production contract type of guy. And again, I mean, we're in feast and famine country down here. Like I said, we lost a good looking crop last year in the later parts of June. So, what was it, 2021 kind of still is in the back of my mind. Yep. We didn't get stung that year, but a lot of people did. And like I said, I'm just trying to market as I see the yield maintain itself.
That feast or famine, when it's that, when it is a reality for you, it does put some caution on your decisions, right?
Yes, it does, and it has to. I think we're in a pretty high risk area really down here, and that's played out quite prevalently this past couple of years. So yeah, we just be cautious with our marketing plans.
Yeah, no, good advice for sure. Well, hey, Scott, really appreciate you joining us here this week on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Let's bring this crop home, get it in the bin, and market successfully. So all the best to you, okay?
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot, Shaun.
Hey, we'll be right back on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, right after this.
It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Shaun Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on SiriusXM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at realagriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today.
And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Foremost, Alberta. We're talking to Shaun Harty. Hey, Shaun, how's it going?
Good, Shaun. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Well, wait a minute. I said Foremost, but maybe I should be saying Exicum. Does it matter?
Well, depends who you ask. Some will say yes, but I go by both. So
there you go. Well, they're not too far apart.
They're not too far apart. No, that's right. But I'll always tell you that Foremost people get more rain than Exicum people. That's for sure.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be down in those parts. What? Jeepers. That's about 3 weeks ago now for the Foremost high school graduation. It was a lot of fun. And the crops looked, I thought they looked pretty good from the road going 120 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, they're looking really good. Yeah, for sure. We had a good start. We started out actually with a little bit of moisture, not a lot, but it was seeding really nice early in April there. And then it was quite cold. And then about the end of April, 1st of May, it started raining, and we actually had a struggle down here even finishing seeding, which is unheard of. It just kept raining off and on. But yeah, the country looks phenomenal. It was a very welcome change, that's for sure.
Yeah, and one thing that is certain is that here in Southern Alberta, we're still waiting for summer. My wife and I went to Lethbridge Bulls, the WCBL game on Wednesday night,
right?
And she wore her winter coat. It is July. Where is the temperature, man?
Well, that's another thing about down here. It'll come. I guarantee it. We'll get some heat. It's coming. Tell her it's coming.
Then we'll be shortly after that complaining it's too hot.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, never happy. That's right. Yeah.
Has the cool temperature had an impact on the crop? Like a lot of people, when farmers on here, broad brushing this, but a lot of people talking about how good their cereals look. I think the cereals have really liked these temperatures.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it. The winter wheat took its sweet time heading out. It definitely just sat in the vegetative state for a long time, right, before it shot ahead. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think the cereals look really, really good. We ended up a little later than I would like on our lentils, so they're a little slower probably. But we didn't have any oil seeds in this year or mustard or anything, just because of rotation and what have you. But yeah, I would say that's a fair assumption. Yes. Really what hurt some of the oil seeds and stuff around our country was that when that first rain came the end of April, 1st of May, it came in sideways with about a 90-kilometer-hour wind for 2 days. And it actually packed the ground pretty good. And some of the crops had a tough time getting back through that. And all the crops, not just canola and mustard, but the moisture was welcome, but coming in with that strong wind was hard on things for sure for a little while, but it seems to have come out of it now, and things are looking really good.
Much sign of disease with the lentils with this levels of moisture?
Not yet. I think that'll probably start here shortly. We'll be doing some fungicide when the sun comes out here and stuff just before, and probably right away here. No signs of it really yet. Like, haven't been sitting a lot of water. It's just been steady, smaller rains. So the water hasn't been sitting a whole lot. So that's been good for the lentils. But I'm sure we're going to be doing some of that for sure, which hasn't happened down here for 6 years, right? So
yeah. Well, I can remember you and I chatting here for the past number of years, and your area tends to be, it's on the dry side, but
yeah,
you kind of farm for the drought because that's the higher probability. But when you get moisture, I'll tell you what, the land in that area will produce a phenomenal crop if Mother Nature will cooperate. So there's got to be some optimism in the air here as long as we can finish this sucker out and we don't get some sort of an early frost.
Yeah, for sure there is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guys talking about, grain bags and, guys getting some extra help around the farm and stuff like that. And yeah, there is optimism for sure. Lots of guys are looking forward to cutting it,
Just got to get there.
Yeah, we just got to get there. That's right. Yeah.
Well, you said the word fungicide, which, there has been some used down in those parts the past couple of years, but not a lot. This is a little bit of a new thing here. We have to do a bit of a refresher on what to do, right?
Yeah. We might have to put the skinny tires on the sprayer a little earlier than we usually do. That's right. Yeah. It's not usually an issue, but sometimes it is for sure. Like you say, it happens, right? But I know some guys had to do some winter wheat and stuff already, but yeah, it can happen for sure.
Yeah, those are good problems, right?
Yeah, they are, absolutely. For sure.
Grain storage, how you sitting? You okay?
Oh, no, I should have been building bins years ago. It's the same old story. But yeah, no, we're all right for sure. Yeah, you look back and wonder why you didn't do it when they were cheaper, but that's just life, right?
Yeah. That's true. And from a marketing perspective, how have you been making out with that chaos?
Not bad, yeah. Locked in some lentils early, and did some barley and some durum. So kind of did some forward pricing. I think I'm happy where I'm sitting. Yeah, the durum market is the funny one. That the minute they call for rain, the price drops, and the minute they call for sunshine, it rallies. So it's just a matter of picking your spots. But yeah, the prices are still historically decent, right? So. I mean, I think we've capitalized on some of that for sure. Didn't want to get too aggressive too early because, like you said, our area can be sketchy. But as it was going here, we locked a little bit in as we went. And yeah, I'm happy where we're sitting for sure.
Because of how dry it has been the past number of years, I'm assuming that people have been cautious or a little bit conservative with their nitrogen applications. Has there been some top dressing going on with this year's conditions?
Not that I know of. I'm sure some guys have done it. What probably happened more than anything was there was a lot of soil sampling went on this spring, probably more than before, right? And we did a little bit of variable rate on some of our barley ground because it didn't require the nitrogen that would normally, because we do have a buildup in some of our ground, right? And the soil sampling was a big tool this year and showed us kind of what we needed. And I know a lot of guys, the guy we used for soil sampling was booked solid all spring, and guys were doing it that didn't historically do it. We're all, everybody was trying to see what was down there before we seeded. I think that was kind of addressed then, and and there's lots of adequate nitrogen in the ground, and I think I'm sure, like you said, some guys I'm sure did top dress, but we didn't have the need to. That's for sure.
Do you do variable rate on just certain fields and certain years, or do you rotate, or what do you do? What's your program there?
We rotate it, and it's kind of certain fields. Like if we see a field that we feel like it hasn't produced properly, and we've been fertilizing it to produce, and then we'll do some variable rate and do some zoning on it just to see what's happening and see if we're getting a build up, or maybe we're lacking something, or we'll just use it as a tool on places that we feel something's going on, almost a discovery tool to see what's happening, and not a broad brush with it, but definitely a tool we use when we see a need.
Yeah, well, great stuff. Hey, Shaun, really appreciate you joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Let's finish off this crop. We've got some time to go, but Mother Nature's going to cooperate this year. I know it. So, hey, all the best to you.
Sounds good, Shaun. Take care. Good talking to you.
Hey, we'll be right back on the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Canola is more than just a pretty face in the prairie landscape. It's a big business, both here and around the world, that requires you to be informed and up to date on everything it takes to grow a successful crop. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com has an expert library of video resources covering markets, agronomy, and more to help you grow a healthy and profitable canola crop. Visit canolaschool.com today. Brought to you by BASF Canada and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
I get to spend every day talking to farmers in the ag industry through RealAgriculture.com and RealAg Radio. But nothing is more fun than speaking to an audience live and in person. If you're planning an ag event, book a Real Agriculture speaker to make it a successful and memorable experience. Email shaney@realagriculture.com and you can book myself or any other Real Ag personality to speak at your event. Bring your audience all the fun, insight, and energy of Real Agriculture. And welcome back to RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And we're joined right now by Pioneer Seeds area agronomist Holly Loucas, based out of Harris, Ontario. Hey, Holly, how's it going?
Hey, it's good, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. Okay. How are crop conditions in your area?
Surprisingly, crop conditions are pretty good. We've had a challenging spring with lots of rainfall and periodic shutdowns where we couldn't be out in the fields, but most of the crop is in the ground and various stages of development. But it's with we've had a decent amount of heat and rainfall, so crops look good.
Yeah. And the rain has definitely been somewhat in abundance. It's been very hot in different weeks. So definitely stuff to, it's had an impact on the crop, hasn't it? And we got to be thinking about disease.
Yep, absolutely. Hot and humid.
Yeah. Sticky.
Yeah.
Okay, so that definitely ties to soybeans for sure. We've been hearing a lot here on RealAg Radio about some concerns about white mold in the soybeans, as some growers in Western Canada are definitely thinking about sclerotinia. So, from a white mold perspective in the beans, what are we looking out for when we're scouting? Give us some tips and tricks.
Scouting a lot, we use just the weather. If you're out walking in those beans and it's lunchtime and your pants are still getting wet, those are kind of conditions that favor white mold fungi. You can look for the little apothecia, but they are definitely hard to find. And we do have bird nest fungi, which are really close. They look similar. So I don't think I have too many people that look for that. It's more the conditions we go off of and how wet are those leaves and how long they're staying wet during the day. So, and with the regular rainfall we're getting, it's probably averaging like 5 days. We get, anywhere from 1/4 inch to 2 inches, depending on where you are. Those conditions just keep moisture in the canopy. So that and flowering, the early planted beans are flowering, and I would say, I don't know for early flowering, but we have a lot of beans flowering this week, which is first week of July is kind of right where they should be. So once those flower petals get on the tissue and then they die, that's the main point of entry for the white mold fungi to grow. So,
and different areas have had more rain than others. How have, based on your territory, how have the beans persevered through some of the wetness?
I'm actually, my territory's been pretty good as far as, we had some replants, but not a huge amount. I don't cover the heavy clay areas that, kind of continually got pounded by a couple inches regularly. And there are some areas that still are not planted the first crop yet. So those areas are suffering, but in general, we kind of went through, what it's like with soybeans when you get to excess moisture and the nodules haven't caught up and there's growth. They did go through kind of a yellowish phase where they didn't look too good, but overall they're starting to across the board green up now and looking good, and canopies are starting to close. So
And one of the other activities that's definitely well underway is side dressing of corn. What have you been hearing from growers with that activity and trying to get all that done?
So same thread as with the beans is with all that moisture. And we've, it's been one of those years where one kind of county road gets 2 inches and then you can go, a couple miles north and they get half an inch. So there's been discrepancies with the amount of moisture. So there is some talk in the area of, I think we've probably leached some nitrogen out. So that's kind of a talking point of, do you top that up? And I do think it's growing field by field, but know how much rain you've got in your cornfields. And then, we're kind of just getting started on side dressing corn. But it is definitely, especially the ones putting like a urea product in, spinning it on in crop, as opposed to, we haven't really started 28 yet with Y dropping, but it'll be ramping up in the near future. But that's something to consider. We have good growing conditions. We got a really nice crop sitting out there. I suspect, we're determining row length right now and ear length. So I think the crop is setting up to be a good yielding crop. So I think we need to be considering how much rain we got and making sure your nitrogen amount is there to feed it the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from growers here every week. We've been talking to them. The corn crop looks pretty good. Like there's some yield there. Like they're either on the optimum yield curve or they're just maybe a little bit off of it. But they're feeling pretty good, all things considered here.
Yep. So the other thing I would throw in there too is, if you didn't put an inhibitor on your nitrogen in the spring, is that this is a prime time to be thinking about putting an inhibitor on. The dual ones, like for volatilization plus leaching, I think this year is looking like a year where those are going to pay off. And it's a insurance package. It doesn't cost a ton per acre, but it's something to consider this year. When it's a really dry year and we're coming into this point, maybe that's where you don't necessarily need to put one on, but I think this year is shaping up to be a year where you would want that insurance package.
We'll finish up with fusarium in the wheat, and
yes.
And we've been hearing from Peter W.P. Johnson that concern. Harvest early, everybody, if you're concerned about it.
I think so. With the wet spring, we do have a number of fields that didn't get a T3 fungicide put on. So those are target number one that you would want to be either looking for fusarium. We're kind of getting past the growth phase where it's easy to see. You can still see it if you look closely, but just knowing which fields got abundant rain, maybe no T3 fungicide, and would be prone for that. But harvest early, and this year you harvest early and dry the crop down. You can prevent the dawn from continuing to grow while it dries. So
yeah. Well, hey Holly, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Definitely heard a little bit more, more varied conditions here this week. Still, things overall pretty positive across the landscape of Canada. There is some concerning spots, mostly on the too wet side, as we heard here today, depending on where you are. And this pattern continues, where we see Western Canada still waiting for what we would call more typical July temperatures, though Scott Hepworth from Assiniboine indicated, because we haven't had that scorching hot weather, it's definitely been a benefit for their crops, along with a little bit of moisture as well. So definitely it's a bit of a different year for Western Canada. And hey, the corn and bean crop overall looking pretty snazzy in Eastern Canada, at least at this point. There's obviously some challenges in some parts, but overall, as we just heard there from Holly Loucas in southwestern Ontario, things looking pretty good. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms, or we'd love to have you call the Real Ag feedback line. That number is 855-776-6147. Big thanks to Pioneer Seeds Canada for being the exclusive sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire, and thank you for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. And we'll chat again next week. Cheers, everybody.